What's up? Welcome to Cluster Fun. It's Wednesday. I'm Danny Cunningham. That's Phil Mackey. And the AL Central Division lead is down to 7 games after an Indians win last night paired with a Twins loss. Twins also were probably disrupted by that drum beating in the outfield in Oakland. We'll get to that in a minute. But where's your level of concern with this divisional race that is shrinking a little bit with the Twins going into a tougher portion of their schedule and the Indians probably having their easiest run of the season?
All right. Do you want my honest answer or do you want my logical answer? Because my logical answer is...
Is your honest answer not logical?
My honest answer is I think the Twins are in a really, really tough spot the next few weeks, and this is getting a little dicey.
Okay.
That's my honest answer. My logical answer is a 7-game lead halfway through the season is a ridiculous lead. And it would, if we didn't have the context of, well, they had a 12-game lead before, and now it's down to 7. If you were just plopped in the middle of the season and you knew nothing about the first few months,
sure,
and you were told going into the weekend before All-Star game, the Twins have a 7-game lead over the Indians, and the Indians are missing a bunch of pitchers, you'd say, oh, like, division over.
But what if it's down to 4 at the All-Star game? Because that's a possibility too.
You would still take that lead
Sure.
10 times out of 10 in a vacuum, but it feels like panic time a little
because
bit.
8 games has been shaved off of it in the last month and a half at that
And
point.
let me tell you this story, because you weren't following the... How old were you in the 2006 season? You would have been...
I would have been in...
junior high.
Yeah.
Okay. So the 2006 Twins had a 12-game deficit around this same time of year. In fact, if I'm replaying the season in my mind correctly, I think it was the Tigers that they were chasing that year in the division.
Might have been the White Sox. They were coming off a World Series win the year before. Could have been them. I know it wasn't the Indians. The Indians weren't very good in 06. They were really good in 07.
It
but
was
not
the
in
Tigers
06.
because the Tigers wound up going to the World Series in 2006.
Oh, that's right. That's when Kenny Rogers couldn't throw to first.
Yes, that's right. So the Twins were down 12 games, and the Twins were like 6 games under 500 in the beginning part of June. The Twins rattled off. This is the year that like the Twins got crazy hot, and Morneau won the MVP, and Liriano was the best pitcher in baseball till he blew his elbow.
Sure.
So the Twins were down 12 games at the start of a 19-1 stretch. Or no, I'm sorry, 19-2. They went 19-2 from like...
It's a good stretch of baseball.
Like a month between, June 7th and right now, July 2nd or July 3rd. They gained 1 game on the Tigers. So over that stretch, they gained. But my grand point here is the Twins were down by 12 and they won the division. I guess I'm burying the lead here. The Twins were down by 12 and they won the division. So we've seen it happen in reverse before, where a team that's supposed to win the division or out to a big lead blows it over the course of time. So
I guess you can look back at St. Louis in 2011, the year they won the World Series. They were down, I want to say 9 games at the start of September.
Yeah.
It was a terrible division, but they won the division and then went on to win the World Series. So it's not as if a 7-game lead at the All-Star break is insurmountable by any stretch of the imagination.
And here's kind of what's happening right now. And my opinion on this when they were leading by 12 games is a little bit different. I said, well, any trade you make should be for October and only October. You shouldn't be looking to overpay for like a number 4 starter that's going to help you in the regular season but not the postseason.
Sure.
Well, now that we're watching Jake Odorizzi turn back into Jake Odorizzi and Martin Perez turn back into Martin Perez, this is where the Twins have to be fully objective. Don't let your ego get in the way. Yes, you did a great job. Pitching guru Derek Falvey brought in a bunch of computer scientists to fix the pitching staff, right? Like they hired this dude from the Tampa Bay Rays, this Josh Kalk. Josh Kalk is like, for 12 years, there's a book written about the Rays called The Extra 2% by Jonah Carey.
Okay.
And he essentially documents the behind-the-scenes people that turn the Rays into a World Series team. And the Twins are like plucking some of these people to their front office.
Okay.
Josh Kalk was hired by the Rays in like 2008, I want to say. And they told him, shut down your blog. He ran a PitchFX blog. Shut down your blog. Don't tell anyone what you're doing. You can tell them you work for the Rays, but like, you're basically anonymous and you will never show your face to media, etc. The Twins are hiring people like that to fix their pitching, and they've definitely fixed their pitching. But it's still Jake Odorizzi, it's still Martin Perez, and it's still 7 surgeries Michael Pineda.
Yeah.
Don't let your ego get in the way of adding better pitchers to this staff soon. Because I could see how they'd look around and say, well, we can fix anybody. We fixed Martin Perez. We fixed Michael Pineda. We fixed Jake Odorizzi. Let Jake Odorizzi be your number 3 or number 4 starter in a postseason series, and go get Madison Bumgarner right now. So A, you're comfortable in October, and B, you don't blow a 12-game lead in the division.
Do you think they'll do it?
They'll win the division.
No, do you think they'll go out and get somebody? Or
Yes,
because your honest take tells me that I don't know how much you firmly believe they're going to win the division. It feels like more of a toss-up at this point. Like after hearing your honest take,
and then like if you add in,
there's a little bit of worry there.
If you add in, and you can relate to this, having been in Minnesota now and growing up in Cleveland, like there's a certain fatalistic feeling that we have as sports fans growing up in Minnesota and Cleveland, and that nothing feels safe. After watching the 1998 Vikings, a 15-1 season, they're up by 2 touchdowns. It's the 14-point favored Vikings against the Falcons. Like, nothing feels safe. So even when mathematically a 7-game lead halfway through the season, like how many teams? I know we can cherry pick examples, but
sure,
how many teams really blow 7-game leads this deep into a season? Not that many. But there's the Minnesota sports and Cleveland sports fatalistic attitude that makes you. This is going to be a wild ride the next 3 months. Even if it never gets below 4, it'll be like, oh my God.
And
if it gets down to 6 tonight. Like,
and before we get to the drum, because I want to get to that in a second here, I do think, and the past is what it is. You have to take certain things with a grain of salt. But something worth noting is that since Francona took over in Cleveland, the Indians have the best second half record in baseball. And that's probably something that should frighten you a tad bit if you're a Twins fan.
I'm trying to pull up playoff odds here. I just need to know.
I mean, they've been at like 99% for a lot of the time, and I would have to imagine that number's gradually coming down.
Okay, here
I'd assume they're still around 90.
All right, Baseball Reference has playoff odds.
Oh,
what would you get? Are you guessing 90?
Fangraphs has the better odds.
Okay, I've got the playoff odds.
What does Baseball Reference have them at?
So postseason. All right, they are. I want to make sure this is current. Yep, 53. They're 53-31, and we're sitting here like, oh my God, the wheels are coming off. The wheels aren't coming off.
They might come off.
But they do sometimes come off in Minnesota sports. So the chances of the Twins making the playoffs right now, according to Baseball Reference, is 98.7%.
Okay.
Cleveland, 22.8%. The Twins winning the division, 97.1%. Cleveland, 2.9%.
I tend to go with Fangraphs for playoff odds. I think that their system's a little bit better.
Fangraphs says 20% Twins.
Fangraphs
says like it's over.
Fangraphs has the Twins at 96.2% to make the playoffs. Has them at 89.5% to win the division.
So Fangraphs has 89%.
There's quite a difference in the divisional odds there, and they give the Indians a 43.6% chance to make the playoffs.
So 1 in every 10 times the Twins blow this 12-game lead is what they're saying.
Correct.
And it's Minnesota sports.
So there was a drummer.
Throw that out there.
There was a drummer last night in Oakland, and our guy Rami Makloff seemed to upset some A's fans with his tweet about it. He tweeted last night.
He woke up. He's tweeting again, like right now.
Rami's always tweeting. That's the thing. He's never not tweeting. But Rami tweeted last night while watching the game against the Oakland Athletics in what's that stadium called now?
Is it O.co?
I don't know. Whatever it is. But so he tweeted last night, and the Oakland A's actually retweeted him. He tweeted, between the obnoxiously loud drum, or whatever that is, that actually overpowers the stadium PA system and the vuvuzelas, A's fans are by far the most annoying home crowd so far in my first tour through an AL season. The Oakland Athletics retweeted him.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so he's got, that tweet has 90 replies.
Oh, I didn't know the A's retweeted him. What did the A's just retweet it, or did they quote tweet it?
I think they quote tweeted it, but they also replied to him because they said thank you.
You know what? Here it is.
So
okay.
You can see that.
Okay. So here's my take on this, and I got to be honest. I watched with the volume down last night, so this is a mystery to me. I was just watching. Without any sound, but it's already a terrible stadium.
Yes.
No one goes to the games, even though they've had mostly good teams for 20 years. No one goes to those games. If you're ranking like for me as a fan, if you're ranking reasons why you wouldn't go to an A's game, number 1 would be consistent drum beat for 3 hours, and number 2 would be like sewage in the hallways. Like I would put
sewage in the hallways above the drum.
I'm sorry, I can dodge some sewage. Like I can put on some grubby shoes and I can tiptoe around. I can't avoid a drum beat for 3.5 hours. I'm out on the Oakland Coliseum.
There's a drum in Cleveland too. It's just, I think that stadium's empty, So that makes it worse because no one goes to A's games. Partly, probably because there's sewage in the ballpark somewhere.
So, like, how many? Like, you went to a bunch of Indians games,
Sure,
I guess, right?
hundreds.
So did you tune out the drum?
You get used to it. It's not quite as loud as the one in Oakland, I don't think. And the stadium's typically a little more full, and probably just the way that stadium's constructed makes it seem louder than it should be.
Yeah, there's a drum beat at Target Field. It's called Bombas.
Oh,
Yeah.
They haven't been
the
hitting
steady
many
rhythm of
lately.
Nelson Cruz and Miguel Sano hitting 450-foot home runs.
Yeah, we'll see how much that keeps up. But this has been Cluster Fun. That's Phil Mackey. I'm Danny Cunningham. We'll be back next week. Someone will have it Monday. I'll be back next Wednesday with you on Cluster Fun.